Welcome to the Mile High Church podcast. We're so glad you're here. I'll bet you're here because you are a spiritual seeker. And we just happen to have all sorts of classes at Mile High Church, online and in person. Come and learn more about the depths of your spiritual nature. Come and learn about how to expand and create the life you want. Our classes start the week of September 9th. Go to milehighchurch.org and click on classes to learn more.
It's Labor Day weekend, and when I get to give a sermon on Labor Day, I mean it for everybody, but I especially mean it for the hard-working, busy people. Where are you, hard-working, busy people? People that might even be in church today because you're working this weekend. How many of you are or are close to the top of the list of the busiest people you know? We're here. Okay. Hence, our message today is for you, but it's for all of us. I hope we all get something out of it. Stuck in traffic. And I'd like to begin by talking about the experience you may have, especially if you live around the Lakewood, Colorado area, of these two-legged little stop signs. Have you seen these guys around? Yes. How many of us, maybe even recently, have gotten the opportunity to stop and pause at the entrance of these little critters? And if you're like me, your first reaction is, oh no. Don't you guys know I have somewhere to go? Don't you know I have plans? You got to go back to your area. This is my road. And yet, with a little bit of reflection, we stop and realize that perhaps these little creatures aren't impeding on us, but that their presence points out that we are impeding upon them. That with all of our roads and highways and optometrist offices that are 50 miles away and our busy lives, these creatures remind us that sometimes nature knows a little better than we do. And that for all of our plans and desire to achieve out there, there's sometimes greater wisdom in not having any at all and taking a nice pause. I was at Jamba Juice with my daughter a few weeks ago. She's 5 years old, and I said, Nancy, do you have any plans for today? She rolled her eyes at me and said, Daddy, only grown-ups have plans. Clearly, she had been studying the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching, who tells us, a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. My talk today is about traffic, but it's really about living in the present moment. Something in this day, in this era, in this social media, smartphone in your pocket, busy life is harder and harder for people to do because most of us live the majority of our lives in traffic. Not just traffic of the road, but traffic of the mind. Traffic of the heart, traffic of the conflicts in our relationship, traffic of the stresses that come with completing a to-do list before it totally ends and completes us. Traffic. And the number one thing that traffic as a consciousness does is it keeps us from the present moment. We wind up living in a manufactured time, almost like a survivor or a soldier would in the military. We live in this survival mode, telling ourselves the present moment isn't good enough because it's so important to get where we need to go. Forgetting that the present moment has so many gifts for us, so many gifts. That in this present moment, there is rest. In this present moment, there is rejuvenation. In this present moment, isn't life as I think it is, it's life as it is. And guess what? It's always going to be greater than I think it is. There is so much to connect to in the present moment that we need for living balanced, fulfilling lives. And the consciousness of traffic takes us out of it. And it all starts with these plans. Look at me. I have plans. I'm a very important person. I'm going somewhere. And I am an important person. I do have lots of plans. It does make me special. But when you get out on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles, heading to the airport, guess what? I'm not the only one with plans. That's the first sign of traffic consciousness, if we could leave the slide up, please, is we fall under the illusion that we're the only ones with plans, that it's all about where we're going. We've got to remember those wise words from the great John Wooden, who said, "Talent is God-given, be humble. Fame is man-given, be grateful. Conceit is self-given, be careful." When we head out into the world, what we discover is that there's all sorts of people who are the lead in their own stories, trying to get where they need to go. Traffic begins when we think getting where we want to go is the most important thing. Then people and their vehicles become not supporters, but obstacles in our way to getting where we want to go. Is traffic really the result of congestion, or is it competition? Is it losing our composure and not caring about someone's path or way? That's where this traffic consciousness begins to cultivate itself, and we start to get lost. We lose ourselves in traffic. I have to admit, I've been getting grumpier on the roads lately. Anybody here? So you're a little bit more ornery than maybe you were 10 years ago? It's these darn phones. Get off your phone. You're driving, right? It goes on and on. And I used to never honk. And now I recognize myself that I've honked after I've done it. And it's all good and well until you pull up next to darling Mary Kay from church. "Hi, Reverend Josh. Thank you for honking at me." Last year, it's Tuesday morning, and I'm driving my daughter Nancy to preschool right here at Mile High Church, our Children's Enrichment Center. And there's some traffic, and I'm waiting to make a right turn. There's a lot of cars in front of me, and there's a man in a minivan behind me. And he must think that I have room to move because he's going like this. And I know it's true of all of us, but in particular, ladies, us men, we prefer to communicate like this. So he's going like this, and I kind of go and look back at him and go, I won't translate what means, but you can imagine what I want him to know. Traffic finally opens up, and I pull into the parking lot to drop Nancy off at church. And guess who pulls in? It's the driver. He's got kids that go to the preschool too. And I'm embarrassed. I'm a little ashamed because I've lost myself once again in traffic. There's something about the anonymity that comes in being in a machine that allows me to sacrifice my humanity. There's something about being someone with plans who has to get somewhere on a dead set time that can cause me to give up my virtues. There was no conflict. I'm sure this person was totally understanding. But my goal as a minister at Mile High Church is to be an uplifting presence to people. And even though I didn't know he was a congregant at Mile High Church, shouldn't my composure be an uplifting presence for everyone? So I lost it. It's okay to lose yourself in traffic, but if traffic is the only kind of consciousness that you live in, you'll lose yourself again and again. There are several spiritual laws that we might say apply to traffic. If on your morning commute between your house and the highway you run into 3 jerks, you're the jerk. Good law. The more you complain, the longer it's going to take. That's the old school water fountain rule, remember? I love, and I want to focus a little bit on, the great spiritual law that was articulated by that incredible sage, George Carlin, who asked the question, why is it that everyone driving slower than you is an idiot and everyone driving faster than you a maniac? Do you resonate with that when you're in traffic and on the road? I'm on a 2-lane highway. My spouse is sitting next to me, and we're behind someone. Sweetheart, what's the speed limit? Does this person have nowhere to go? What an idiot. Oh. So we pass him up and keep driving, and 5 minutes later, there's a car behind us, and it passes us up and moves in front. Did you see that maniac? Should we capture the license plate? Maybe we should call the police department. This person seems like they might be dangerous. All within that inner knowing within myself that I was their idiot. Right. Now, it's funny, even, when we apply it to the traffic of the roads. But in the traffic of our lives, how often do we allow plans to take priority over people? If you're only in this destination consciousness, never willing to enjoy the destination that is here and now, before you know it, everyone in your life becomes either an idiot or a maniac. Everyone becomes an obstacle as opposed to a destination. It's a struggle at work when we do that and don't see people. It's a tragedy at home when your spouse is an obstacle, and when your kid is an obstacle. And trust me, they know it. They know it when you don't see them as a destination, but as something in your way. We all can do it. We can all slip into it. But let's remember that there is a reason that Carlin asked this question. There is an answer to why, when we're in traffic, everyone seems either like an idiot or a maniac. Before I share that, I want to share some more wisdom from the Tao. He who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He who defines himself can't know who he really is. He who has power over others can't empower himself. He who clings to his work will create nothing that endures. If you want to accord with the Tao, just do your job, then let go. The great thing about comedy is when it's true, right? That what can make it so funny is that a comedian is able to articulate a truth that we either haven't thought about or are too afraid to say out loud, and it makes us laugh. George Carlin, who was a very spiritually hip cat, also saw the dark side of humanity. And so when he asked this question, why is it that everyone driving slower than you is an idiot and everyone driving faster is a maniac, I think he has an answer. And I'm going to put it in terms of the question I'm going to ask you right now, which is, how comfortable are you being right where you are? How comfortable are you being right where you are? In this skin, in this moment, in your circumstances, in your challenges. Because as much as we say we despise traffic, perhaps all it really is a defense mechanism against being right here and right now. Because if we were to have to be right here and right now, we might have to listen to all of the feelings that have been welling up within us. We might have to listen to what the many large committee of voices is trying to tell us in our lives. We may have to surrender what we think ought to be to accept what is. And we may have to accept who we are in this moment. And sometimes for some of us that's uncomfortable. That can be a painful process to be in this here and now. I've learned that if I want to get out of traffic, I have to get back to my own pace. Traffic is always a sign, when it's in consciousness, that we're sacrificing our own pace for somebody or something else's. And what I want to point out today is even when the roads are fully congested, you can still get back to your pace. Do you know what your pace is? For some of us, it's slower. For some people like me, it's pretty fast. Your pace is your pace. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing particularly right about it. It's how you flow. It's how you get into your groove. It's how you relate with the present moment. Some of us get there by meditating. Some of us get there by taking a walk around a lake. Some of us by talking with a good friend. Some of us by putting some good tunes on in the car. We all have these things that help us get in our pace. And the goal when you're living a busy life is to make sure these pace setters are all around you, that you're filling your life with them. Traffic doesn't just come from cars, it's happening all around us. I remember having an experience when my daughter was 2 years old. We're out in the backyard and fall had just happened. And here's this 2-year-old discovering fall. A brown leaf, smelling the crisp air, looking at the blue sky, rolling around and feeling the grass. And I know there's some part of me that knows, gosh, Josh, in 10 years, you'd give your left arm just to be right here for 10 minutes, having this beautiful experience. But what was I doing? I was on my phone. Because I was in that traffic consciousness. There's something that must be fixed. There's something that needs my attention. I have plans. There's something going on this weekend that I need to be planning for. See, there's so much from our smartphone to our car to the never-ending 24 hours news cycle that's calling us into traffic. And it's up to us to remember those things that help us set our pace. Like I said, my pace is pretty fast. I like to think fast, talk fast, write fast. I do a lot of things fast. And so the thing that causes traffic for me is whenever I'm asked to wait even a minute for anything, it starts to drive me crazy. There was an exchange between two of my favorite philosophers, the great Alan Watts, beatnik, counterculture philosopher, lived on a houseboat in San Francisco, and the great Joseph Campbell, straight-laced, proper gentleman. So I never knew that they were friends, but they were. And Campbell was sharing with Watts one day that he had just been married and he's worried that things aren't going to work out because his spouse is always late. Campbell at least 15 minutes early to everything. He shared with Watts that, if we agree to meet at a cafe at 11, Jean takes that as the signal to start getting ready. And she shows up 45 minutes later, and I'm just furious. Watts gives Campbell the simplest advice. You have to learn to appreciate the moment. Enjoy your coffee. Look at the Canadian geese walking by. Bring something to read or bring out a pad of paper and start writing a poem. It's simple but profound and meaningful advice. I like to put it this way. Don't wait, meditate. Don't wait, appreciate. Don't wait, accentuate. Whenever something or someone or a circumstance is taking you off your pace, move back into your own groove, into your own flow, and you may just notice that the highway clears, that things start to open up. as we close today, a few rules for facing the facts, but through transforming ourselves when we're confronted with traffic. Number one, I may be not in control, but I am always at choice. I am not always in control, but I am always at choice. I love what Khalil Gibran once said. He said, our anxiety does not come from thinking about the future, but from wanting to control it. Traffic of the roads and traffic of the mind and heart always to me is a reflection of my illusion of control. And it's not until I'm willing to let go of control and move back into a place of choice that I can choose trust again. That I'll get there when I'll get there, but I'm not going to lose my composure. I get to teach a workshop today in the vote after service, 11:30, 35-ish, that's about virtues. And for me, I can always choose my virtues. And in the workshop, you choose 4 that you get to use and apply to your days, months, and year. But for me, when I can get back to my virtue, I can get back to my pace. I can get back into my flow. I don't lose my composure, and I embody the kindness or the creativity or the listening that I am. Traffic gone. Next, I may not be able to speed up, but I can always slow down. I may not be able to speed up, but I can always slow down. Traffic is a great visual for reflecting back to yourself the state of your own consciousness. If you close your eyes right now and imagine that you're on that 405 freeway, what does the traffic of your mind look like? Is it pretty clear? Or is it bumper to bumper and you're running out of gas and your thermostat's on H and you could break down at any minute? How would a freeway reflect your consciousness? Now, how would it best reflect your pace? Maybe for all of us, it doesn't look like being on a motorcycle in a wide open road. Maybe it looks like some congestion, but people are getting along and they're letting people over. And you honk your horn to say hello, not you know what. It's good sometimes to go to these visuals to reflect back to ourselves, to remind us that I may not be able to speed up past this condition, but I can slow down and reclaim myself and not surrender my well-being over to it. Lastly, I may be late, but I can always be prepared. I may be late, but I can always be prepared. What is the greatest fear for someone who's in traffic? It's not their lives, right? We see how they behave. They put those at risk all the time. It's not offending anyone. We see how people can behave in traffic. It's being a minute late to anything. And people will sometimes risk their lives and their kindness just to try and get where they need to go in that set time. And yet, all I've learned I can do in this life is I can't control if I'm on time, but I can always control on whether or not I'm prepared. Did I prepare for the talk I'm giving today? Did I prepare for the meeting that I have across town that I'm going to be late for? Am I prepared to be present to my good friend that I'm going to be late for? It's okay to be late if you're fully prepared to be present and on time. The great John Wooden also said that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. If we've simply done our best, what else can we do but get back to our pace and go with the flow? So I wish for you this morning that you stay eternally in your groove, that you enjoy immensely your lane, that you recognize your flow not as something alien, but as something ever becoming who you are. And that you live a life, even with so much congestion and busyness going on, that is traffic free. Moving into prayer today, I invite any of our incredible prayer practitioners who'd like to stand to join me. Please know that for those folks here in the sanctuary that they are available right up in front of the stage for prayer at the completion of the service. So just being aware of what may be the traffic of our minds. Just being aware that there may be a part of us that's resisting being in this here and now. And why might that be? It may be because today I don't feel prosperous enough. It may be that I resist this moment because in this moment I don't think there's a loved one I can be connected with. It may be because I don't think I'm good enough or that life is rich enough in this moment. And I invite us to perhaps just ask ourselves that this may not be a limitation of circumstances, but a limitation placed upon ourselves in our own mind. That as we remove the obstacle, that we may indeed reconnect with this now moment in a way that reveals to us just how very rich we are. That reveals to us how it is impossible to be disconnected from those we love the most and from those who love us. That reveals to us what a miracle it is to be living this life at this time and how precious life is. Giving in to this now moment, the greatest sacrament there ever was and ever will be. We allow the divine to touch us, to inform us, to rewire us, to rejuvenate us, to ground us in the love and the truth of who we are. May we allow this now moment on this time of celebrating the work we've done, but more importantly, to rest, to be, to open up to that divine wisdom that gives us all the energy we need, not to move forward with frantic energy, but in a divine flow that puts us in touch with that true nature of who we are and who we're meant to be. We let it be and become, and so it is. Amen.
Thanks for listening to the Mile High Church podcast. This podcast is made possible by the generous contributions from listeners like you. To make a donation, please visit milehighchurch.org.